So I've been thinking about the definitions that we place on health, fitness, and beauty. So, what does it mean to be healthy? What does it mean to be beautiful? What is fitness? What is strength? Like what are these things, and is there a fixed definition? Is it something that is fluid over time? It's in the eyes of the beholder. Like what do these things actually mean? And I think where I am is there can be sliding definitions, maybe expanded from what Webster might say, or any other source would say. But I think there is a conversation to be had around what these things mean and why we think what we think about them, like about these words, like health, fitness, beauty. I know beauty has been one that is kind of, the argument is old as time. What is beauty? Well, beauty means this. Like if your nose is this, if your eyes are a certain color, if your hair is a certain this, if, you have hips, if you don't have hips, if you have, if you wear a certain color, like certain things can be considered beautiful. And I think the standards have shifted just as time has shifted. Sometimes it's skinny. Sometimes it's, you've got a little bit more meat on your bones. I think now in the era that we're in, it's very much accepting of more kind of a broader range of body types, which is really nice to see. Because I don't think I've ever been like the super, maybe in preschool, I was skinny, but ever since puberty, like the curves came in and it was kind of all she wrote. So these definitions of beauty have always been, I'd say, actually quite frustrating for me, because growing up, I didn't see a lot of what I looked like, in the media, in magazines, on TV, and we didn't really have the internet, so I didn't have social media to worry about. But I didn't have like all of examples to think about and to see and to, I'll say, compare myself to that looked like me. So I questioned the concept of beauty, because what I saw as the definition of beauty did not actually resonate with what I was seeing in the mirror. And there's many of us who have had that experience. So just thinking about that, but layering on the health and wellness aspect, because I was watching something where it was very fitness focused, and I'll say it, the trainers, trainers and coaches that were in this thing that I was watching, were very focused on muscle definition and body fat percentage and, ability to do pull-ups. And it was very aesthetic, but very, dare I say, superficial in the assessment of what was healthy, what was beauty. And conversely, the clients that these individuals were working with were seeing in themselves the complete opposite. So they didn't think themselves as beautiful or pretty or worthy of the things that these, fit and muscular trainers were perpetuating. And it really got me thinking about, well, why is that? And again, I just said, I know I didn't see a lot of things that resonated with me as I was growing up. So I had all of these preconceived notions about right and wrong in beauty, and right and wrong in how you care for yourself, and right and wrong in what was acceptable to wear or act or appear as. I had all sorts of confusion going on, in addition to kind of the self-esteem and the self-worth, partly because I didn't see the images that look like me, but there's also, some energetic stuff that I had to work out. So these people didn't see themselves as worthy of having health, which then equated to beauty. And because the doctor said, you're pre-diabetic, or you have high blood pressure, or you've got cholesterol issues, or whatever, they felt shunned, and therefore the mindset and then the actions followed suit. But they also had that societal pressure of, I don't look like the runway model or the person on TV, so therefore I definitely am not worthy. I definitely am not, beautiful or what have you. So it was interesting from seeing from both sides, like the perpetuation of, if I have the six pack, then that is healthy. And then on the other end, because I don't have the six pack, I'm unworthy and I'm not pretty and I'm not healthy. So it was very polarizing, these two kind of opposing viewpoints from these people that were working together, the coach and the client, or the trainer and the client. And ultimately, when you work together with someone, if you've got opposing viewpoints like that, then there's gonna be a point in the relationship, if you do work together, then you will meet in the middle or have a moment where it's like, wait a minute, there needs to be some sort of conversation, or you have a realization about yourself that you're then able to shift something. Like there's a moment that happens, maybe even a couple, where you either trigger each other or you get triggered, and maybe there's a meltdown that ensues. Something happens where you make a shift. And I hate that, these definitions define experiences and potentially define lifetimes, because they're such, maybe important, maybe pivotal things to talk about, but they shape experiences. I know definition of health, definition of beauty has shaped my life. The definition of health for me has morphed so many times, from, going to the doctor and seeing a certain number when you get blood tests, and weighing a certain, with a certain number coming up when you weigh yourself on the scale, and wearing a certain clothing size when you put your jeans on and you put your t-shirt on. And even as a coach. Okay, we're back. We had a little technical difficulty. I'm not quite sure what happened, but we're back now. So as I was saying, as a coach, even working with a client to figure out BMI, or plugging numbers into a formula to determine body fat percentage or desired body weight versus actual body weight, and what it would take to do that. Like, that is a piece of a puzzle. It is a tool to use that can serve as an indication of how to get from A to B. But that is by no means the end all be all when it comes to defining health. And, for me, health is the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the things, like everything, all energetic, like all of that. I factor all of that in, because for so long I considered myself to be healthy because I was active and I was willing to tolerate certain things that my body was doing. And because I could function, I thought, okay, well, I'm healthy enough. So therefore I'm healthy. But come to find out, when I got some access to some resources and maybe got some access to some different types of people who thought differently than what I did, my world was opened, just completely blown apart. And enter the world of energy and energy work. I saw how unhealthy I was because I was suppressing emotions. I was holding thoughts that weren't mine. I was holding thoughts that were counter to what I actually believed. I had all sorts of baggage that I was carrying around from my entire life and other lifetimes that were not helping me. And my body was carrying all of that. My body was carrying so many things, but I had told myself I was healthy because I was able to make it. I was maintaining. So defining health, defining fitness, defining beauty, those things definitely are in the eye of the beholder. Over time, like I said, my definition of health has just completely shifted. We have different guidelines that say what is fitness, what is not fitness. But even within that, there's endurance and there's strength and, long distance versus short distance, or what is the type of activity, like functional exercise versus, training for a specific sport. Like there's different types of fitness, or are you literally just trying to make it through your day? There's different types of fitness, so there's different guidelines for that as well. So not necessarily one specific prescribed for every single person. There is some flexibility within that. And then beauty, come on, it's in the eye of the beholder. It is. I think it really is in the eye of the beholder. But like I said earlier, I am really glad to see that body positivity, more variety in what we see in the media, whether it's skin color, size, shape, whatever. We are seeing more representation of what the world looks like on TV, in the media, in things where people have a sphere of influence. So those are some thoughts on health and fitness and beauty, and really just coming from the perspective of kind of in that health weight loss practitioner sphere, seeing these people talk about the different ends of the spectrum so strongly, having, the 6-pack and the 8% muscle or 8% body fat, talk so strongly about what the other end of the spectrum is experiencing and their thoughts on that. And then, the end of the spectrum that wants to lose the 50 pounds, that wants to lose the 100 pounds, what their experience is, what society believes of them, about them, what they in turn believe about themselves as a result, whether they want to or not. Like that's kind of what's fed to them. And then eventually, hey, sometimes if you hear something long enough, you believe it. So good or bad, good or bad. But yeah, I think it's a good conversation to have, how we define things, and then whether we believe those definitions and if we're willing to challenge them or not. So, what do you think?